Parents, teachers, educators, welcome back to the second season of the Sibling Summit. I am your co-host, Sonali Vongchusari, and I am delighted to have the guest that we have with us today. She is someone that has impacted my life personally and professionally. So welcome, Karen.
Kia ora from New Zealand.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for being here. Karen, you are somebody that being in your presence, like there's an energy and a spark and a confidence and a sturdiness all present within you. And um, I'm so grateful for the interactions that we've had together, the spaces that we've gotten to share together. And I reached out to you maybe a month ago and told you that even a small book that you had sent me after I'd spoken in one of your summits, my daughter at the time, she was 6, she'd taken it into her room and kept it there. And this book is a book that you gave that she's read every single day for the past few years and has meant so much to her. So, like I said, I love your ideas. They're different, they're energetic, they're radical, and they're uplifting. And I love the way that your work has impacted my family, both professionally and personally. So, thank you for being you.
Oh, my pleasure.
So I'm excited for our topic today. I'm going to share our topic, then I'm going to share your bio quickly, and then we're going to dive right in, and it's going to be fun. So, today we are going to discover simple, joyful ways to reduce sibling squabbles and raise independent, responsible kids. Karen, I love it that you didn't just stop at the reduce squabbles. You said raise independent, responsible kids. Um, Karen is going to share strategies from her book, Roots and Wings, including her popular A Month in the Front system that turns daily chores and arguments into agreements. We're going to walk away with practical tools for teaching cooperation, building respect, and restoring calm to your home. I really love that you talked about what we want to have less of and what we want to have more of. And I think that balance, when we're looking, we can't just talk about how do we reduce sibling squabbles without talking about what is it that we want to increase? What is it we want more of? And I love that balance that you brought to that, Karen. Okay, so for parents who are getting to meet you for the first time, Karen Twee Boys um, she called herself the learning alchemist. I love that. She's a powerhouse of purpose. Karen turns knowledge into magic and classrooms into launch pads. She's a globe-trotting education changemaker, gratitude guru, and sturdy and steady superstar. Whether she's sparking joy at a Teachers Matter Summit, coaching new educators, or designing experiments with elastic bands and eggs, Karen blends heart, science, and strategy into everything she touches. I love that. I love the things that you comment on. I see you like as this mad scientist experimenting and trying things on and seeing what's going to work in the parenting and education field. And it is incredible. That's what I love about the way you show up. She's part philosopher, part Energizer Bunny. One moment curating curriculum on sound waves, the next planting veggies in sun-dapped rows, or dreaming up skincare startups with teens. She's bold, she's brainy, and a little bit bananas about making learning meaningful, memorable, and massively fun. So that is exactly the energy you are bringing it to this conversation, and I'm really excited for where we're going to go. Um,
My
yeah,
pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So where I love to start with interviews is because this topic of siblings, there's a lot of like we've all had experiences in different spaces. It's a topic that we're trying to support our families and our kids, and we also often have our own history and background and story related to it. So let's start with why is the topic of siblings important to you?
Well, I have one, I am one, and I bred a couple of siblings. So I think that for many of us, that whole sibling thing is something we really relate to. It's important to me because I think that we're all on our own personal journeys. I think we're here on this planet for a reason. And I think sometimes siblings are able to help us navigate some of that. So I think siblings are well, if I look at my own life, my sister is 15 months younger than me, so I am the eldest. the smartest, the prettier. I know. Just kidding. I'm definitely the tallest. But the whole idea with siblings and my own is that, my sister and I were in competition with each other our whole childhood. And it wasn't until we became in our 20s, really, that we started to realize we had individual values and that we started to maybe appreciate each other. It wasn't until our 30s that we started to like each other. So as I watched this journey of siblingship, I don't know if that's a word, but I think, and I watched my own children through that journey, I think that siblings help us see who we are and find our place in the world.
Oh, I think that was so beautifully put. And I love that you shared that, like your journey with your sibling. And I think for many people that they may not get to that place as well. Like that competitiveness could also seep into adulthood. Oh, who's got the bigger home? Who gets to spend more time with mom and dad? Like there can be competitiveness that goes into adulthood as well. So what a gift that you and your sister have been able to work through that and have chosen to have a relationship where you like each other and enjoy being around each other now. So,
Yes. I need to say, we are complete opposites. So anything I do, she doesn't. Anything she does, I don't. So we are absolute complete opposites. But I think that's part of the joy and pleasure of being able to be friends, be committed and love someone who is not like you.
yeah. Oh, and I think that is oftentimes the being different from each other is what can lead to that sibling rivalry in the first place, right? Like, oh, this person does like my sibling does it this way, but I want to do it this way. And it can lead to that rivalry. So let's dive into your topic. I can't wait to hear what you have to share about a month in the front. I'm curious what that means from sibling rivalry to independence and responsibility.
Well, let's start with the independence and responsibility, because I think one of the important parts of parenting is that we are raising our children to leave home. Now, that might upset particularly some mothers when I say that, but really, we try not to have your personal identity as a parent tied up into your being a mother and yes, uh, being motherhood is a privilege and it's incredible, yet it's not who you are as a parent. And so your job is to parent them to leave home, which is what my book Roots and Wings was really about. And I had to wait for my children to leave home. Well, actually, no, I had to wait for them to be over 18 before I could write that book or finish that book because I didn't feel like I had the credibility for it. But one of the key parts of that to help them leave home is to help them become independent. And that starts from very, very young. Now, I'm not suggesting we just leave them to do whatever they like. I'm not talking about that. But giving them opportunities to find out who they are and find their independence. So the first thing I would say is, one, make sure from at least age 2 years old or even younger that your children are helping with chores around the house. So they can be setting the table, they can be posting the mail, they can be emptying a dishwasher, and it might be just the plastics. It could be uh, for helping fold the washing. Now, if you're a perfectionist parent, they are not going to fold the washing like you fold it. And if you have to fold it differently later, do. But actually, I didn't because then they would go, it wasn't good enough. So
Mhm.
I would leave my towels in the cupboard, not neat and tidy because I knew the children did it. And so I'd go, look at my beautiful towels. um, and still encourage them to do it straight. But the teaching their independence, what it really does is helps them to know themselves and helps them to be able to have a sense of purpose. Now, when my children were doing jobs around the house, I remember my daughter being 2 and setting the table. And I remember these little eyes peeking over the table. And she said to me, Mum, am I being responsible? And I'd say, oh, yes, honey, you are so responsible. Because I used to praise them for their responsibility. So not getting the task done, but the disposition or the thinking and the value maybe behind it. And so we talk about taking responsibility for a task, even at 2 years old. Can you be responsible to empty the dishwasher for me? Can you be responsible with your brother to carry this letter and post it in the mailbox down the road? And I always made them hold hands when they left by themselves, just because it looked cute. But it made me smile. But I would trust them to be able to go out and take that independent action, even if it was with a sibling, and talk about how responsible they were. And when they'd come back, their chests would be puffed out and they'd go, we did it. They had to cross a road and they did it. Not at 2. That was probably about 4 and 5 and 6. But I taught them how, and we'd done it many times, and they like, we can do it. And I read a meme just yesterday, actually, that said, we actually need to spend less time with our children. Let them be more independent. We are so scared something is going to happen, and they are more likely to be struck by lightning twice just walking outside your house than they are to be abducted, than they are to have stranger danger, than they are to all these fear things that we hear about. And so, yeah, giving them ways to take that responsibility. And as much as possible, I would often ask my children to be responsible together and do a task. So while we're talking about being independent, I also wanted to create collaboration. So we talked about, in this family, we work interdependently, we work together. So, that phrase, many hands makes light work. And I wanted my children to know that that's how functioning adults work together, and that's how a functioning family and functioning children work together. Now, I need to say this though, Sonali, my children are far from perfect, and I am far from a perfect parent. I yelled at my children. I have lost the plot. I have done all of the things that we shouldn't. I've cried myself to sleep going, I've psychologically ruined my child forever. I didn't. I'm not thinking I did. I've Googled, I've made a huge mistake with my kids. What do I do? But I did parent from the perspective that I knew I was never going to be perfect. So I think that helps as well.
Thank you for sharing that, Karen, because I think sometimes when we're here making these interviews, we can come off as perfect. I am not the perfect parent. And for you to just acknowledge that we're not. I've Googled also, like, I made this mistake. We've all done it. Every parent has done it. Right? And to say that you weren't parenting to try to be perfect. You were parenting. I'm trying my best to be a real human being with my kids and allow them to see that, and teaching them how to grow instead of how to try to achieve a certain thing, how to be a growing human being, like somebody that's willing to grow and evolve and keep learning and discovering and become more self-aware and other aware at the same time. So
Absolutely. In fact, I'll share this. When you get an email from me, I always sign it rainbows and sunshine, because they're my 2 favorite things. And when I named my children, my son's middle name in Te Reo Maori is Niwa, which means rainbow. And my daughter's middle name is Rahana, which means sunshine. And so I've got my own little rainbows and sunshine. And when they used to complain about their middle names, because everyone complains about their middle names, doesn't matter if it's a nice one. So when they complain about their middle names, I'd say, I gave those to you so you had something to talk to the counselor about. It's not why I gave them to them, but I'm just saying, look, no one likes their middle names. If you have a problem with your middle name, go and talk to a counselor. At some point, I'm probably going to screw you up. You're going to need to talk to a counselor anyway. start with your middle name.
Love that. I guess I joke like that with my kids too. It just takes the tension off
Yeah,
to
it
make
does.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I also saw a friend has just written a parenting book, and she said to her children at one stage, "This is the first time I've been a parent, and this is the first time you've been a kid. Let's work this out together."
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's honest and humble. Okay. Okay, so this responsibility side, and I really appreciate you saying that. And I think it's interesting because it's something that I know every time I allow my kids and I step them into that. So my oldest, he's 14, and he'll walk his siblings to their music lesson. And when he does that, the people at the music lesson and will comment to like, "Oh my gosh, they came in together. How sweet." You know, he's bringing them his siblings to their music lesson. And of course, me as the parent, well, I'm like, my anxiety is up high, knowing that as when they were learning to do this thing. And it was something I knew was also really important for them because they get to feel proud of themselves. And I think you really exemplify that. Your kids also came back beaming with pride because they did this thing, you know? So yeah,
Yeah. No.
yeah.
Um, shall we get to the month in the front? Because that is going to take us into many different directions of challenges and strategies that we can use. So,
Let's do it.
if you've got more than one child, there are going to be arguments about pathetic things. So, arguments about well, so my children would both have to set the table, but one would want to do the plates and the other one would want to do the knives and forks. Or there was always one part of that task that was more exciting, about who was going to get the mail out of the mailbox today, about who was, like, I mean, physical mail post, not email. Who was going to sit in the front seat of the car when they were old enough. It's my turn. It's my turn. It's my turn. You did it yesterday. And I absolutely drove me crazy. So again, this is not my technique. I got this from a very good friend who lives in Perth. She's got 3 children. I only have 2. And she called it a month in the front. So when it's your month, you get to choose. So for the whole entire month of February, you can be in the front seat of the car. If the preferred thing to do is put the plates on the table instead of the knives and forks, you get to do that. My children help with all the housework. I have to tell you, there was a flaw in my planning because the kids did all the housework. They shared the load, and then they left home, and then I had to do it. I needed more children. Should have had more children. Anyway, when they vacuumed the house, one of them would do the front and the other one would do the back. And if it was your month, you could choose which side you did. There's always, I don't even know how they chose, but so here's how it works. Sibling 1 has the first month. Sibling 2 has the second month. If you've got more siblings, obviously you're going to have more children, you're going to have more months. But because we only had 2, the third month was my husband and I. It was our month. So in that month, the children had to do what we said. And so it's like, it's fine. Or they just couldn't, well, they didn't not do it, but it was just like, it's my month, I get to choose. It's like done. So there's no arguments. But they always knew whose month it was. Once we started this, one cycle, they knew, and they never argued about things again. It's like, it's my month, and they'd just go and do it. So, when you cut the cake in half and one person gets to choose, one cuts and one gets to choose the piece, they knew whose turn it was to cut the cake and whose turn it was to choose. So it just stopped all that sibling rivalry that goes on. So what do you think?
Oh, I love this idea. I'm thinking about how my kids have a similar where like it's actually at the dining table and it's sits next to me at the dining table, they have it's a weekday, what do they call it? Weekday nothing system. Because somebody sits in the week spot, so they get the whole week sitting next to me. Then they have the day spot and then the nothing spot. The nothing is you don't sit next to mom because there's three of them and one of me. So you'll hear conversation at home. Oh, you've got week this week. I've got day. You've got nothing. And it's not even like they're not even poking at each other. They're being factual. But to say, oh, I've got nothing today, oh, I had nothing yesterday. So they alternate these seats and it's a system. And it took away, for me, it was a similar thing where they were fighting over who sat next to me at the dining table. And then when I handed it to them, I'm like, you guys come up with the system that's going to work for you. That leaves me out of it. Then they came up with this system. They don't argue about it. They're like, nope, I had nothing today. Or oh, am I in your seat? It was your seat. It's your day today, and they know who sits where. I'm taken out of the equation. And I love that you extrapolated this idea to everything because when they're working on chores together, when they're doing something, it's just saying, okay, we don't even have to have a decision about this. It's, I could see it working in my home when you're talking about it. I'm like, okay, just whoever's week it is. And they've done that. They're like, oh, whoever's week it is gets to decide this or, gets to do this. So it's taking that idea and it's like a whole month in the front. So it's like they get to be the decision maker when there is a call to be made.
Absolutely. So we extended that even further and we used a month because it gave a good amount of time and because we also do some other things in our family. So one of them is if it was your month, we do family time. And so once a month, whoever's turn it was, you probably need a bit more money now, but we used to have a budget of $50. You could go to the movies for $50 for a family of four. I don't know if you can now, but we had a predetermined amount of money. And by the way, you could do this without money as well. But whoever's month it was, they would get to choose what we were going to do for that month. And the only other rule was you couldn't do what we did last time it was your turn. So we might go to the movies, we might go to the zoo, we might go for a picnic somewhere, we might go to the beach, we might go to the swimming pool, we might watch a family movie. My daughter, when she got older, started saying, can we go to the park and just have a picnic, food from home, and then I can keep the $50? No, was the answer to that. So it encouraged them to be creative. But if it was their month, they knew that was one of the ticket items that went with it. And again, so sibling one had a month, sibling two, and then month three was my husband and I. So we could choose that. The other thing I think family traditions and starting family traditions are important. And often, I think sometimes they happen accidentally. So we went through a period of time when my children were in their early mid-teens where financially things were tough and we couldn't afford takeaways anymore. We used to have takeaway night and we couldn't afford them anymore. And so I started making pizza dough in the kitchen on a Friday night. And so I'd make the dough from scratch, roll it out, and then the kids would do their pizza and, put what they wanted on it, and then we'd cook it and have family night, pizza night. And it's become a tradition. Still, we're recording this on a Friday. It is pizza night. I don't have any children at home, but my husband goes, oh, it's pizza night. He doesn't eat pizza. I don't eat traditional pizza, but we still call it pizza night. But again, this dovetailed into the month in the front because now pizza night means that you can come and do your pizza first. You can come and help mum roll the dough. You can, whatever needs you get to choose. If you want to be the last one to make your pizza, that's fine, but it's your choice. So they weren't arguing about that. So it sort of infiltrated into every area of our world. So, yeah.
I really love that. And so you were both like it both was working on reducing the sibling fighting as well as building a sense of responsibility because the month was choosing like which part of the chore you got to do. The month
Mm.
is, like, but also like choosing when you want to be the one to help mom or you want to be the one to sit next to mom or dad or sit in front. And so you're getting to have that choice for an entire month. And I love it that you worked in, then you got to pick. You had a month to pick as well. So like you were woven in, and that was their building their awareness that wait, mom and dad have preferences as well. So,
Yeah.
which was easy for kids to learn. I have a question for you, and it's kind of like it's there, and it's like kind of poking at me, and I'm like, oh, so I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. Um, I'm thinking for parents who have and they're support work for when you've got one child. What thoughts do you have about how the month in the front can work when you have one child?
Yeah. A great question. Just to let you know that you froze in the middle of that, but I'm thinking what you're asking me was, what do you do if you've only got one child? Then
Yep.
I would do, they have a month, parents have a month. And if you're a solo mum or dad, you have a month, parent has a month. You have a month, child has a month, sorry, parent has a month. So I would still rotate. I think what it does when the parent has the month is that the kids then have to work together. They know that it's not their turn. And that one of my favorite phrases to say to my children as teenagers is, one day you'll realize you're not the center of the universe. And when when it wasn't their month, they were not the center of the universe anymore. It wasn't their turn to do anything. They had to try and work together to do it. So it gave them a month just to practice being able to be nice to each other. So yeah,
Okay.
if you've got only one child, I'd just say you and the parent, the child and the parent swap. Yeah.
Okay. And for that month where you get to decide, let's say it's the kids setting the table, right? Would you just say, okay, you do this and you do this, and I'll, help bring the bowls to the table, or how would it work? Well, like just
So
grounding it in what that would look like.
I would just say, right, time to set the table, go. No, I'd let them make their own autonomous decisions around that, and that's when the arguments happen, right? But I wanted to do the plates, but you did the plates yesterday. I'm like, work it out. So that because they knew the next month was going to be theirs, and
Mhm.
they always knew they got a choice when it was their month, but when it's not their month, sort it out. So plus I knew it was only a month if there was going to be some serious arguing. It's like I can get through, you know, 30 days of this. And it wasn't every day. They would just get on with it. Yeah.
And that's really helpful because it also created a container where they could work on sorting it out, but then there was also a break as well. So it
Yeah.
wasn't constantly trying to sort it out day after day after day. I love that you brought that up, Karen, because it was like, you guys sort it out. But then you knew that the next month was coming where it would be clear who got that. So it was a container to practice that. For the, and with extrapolating this idea towards friendship relationships. Have you ever tried making it work with friendships and things like that for
No, I haven't, but there's definitely scope for that as well. To be able to, well, you can have a turn today, I'll have a turn tomorrow, sort of thing. Um, but I tell you what I do think is the basis of all of this, and that is the relationship with, as the parent, with your significant other. If you are in competition with your significant other all the time, if you're disagreeing or going, it's not fair, I did the dishes yesterday, with your partner, then that's what they're going to model.
Mhm.
So, have you got an adult to adult relationship with your partner? Have you got a relationship with your partner where you can disagree nicely and get on with it? Do you have roles and responsibilities? Like I do the cooking, my husband does the dishes, partly because he doesn't like the way we stack the dishwasher. Um, so I never do it right, apparently. But that's a rod for his own back, actually, because it's like, well, I'm not going to do it because you don't think I do it right, so I'm not going to waste my time. So he made a rod for his own back on that one. But we don't argue about it. We just have roles and responsibilities. So because my husband was a full-time uh, dad, parent, like he was the stay-at-home parent. I need to say that everyone's a full-time parent. He was a stay-at-home dad. He was the one that did the washing. And I hardly ever did the washing. Now it's just the two of us. Again, whoever just sees it, we just go and do it. But it's that adult to adult relationship with your partner that is really important, that you're not doing the adult parent and you're parenting your partner, and you're not doing the adult child or the parent child with your partner.
Karen, I love that you brought that up because I think so much of like the more we try to make things fair or equal and we're keeping tabs, the more our kids are trying to do that too, to keep tabs of, oh, I emptied it yesterday, so why are you asking me again today? And like I think actually by allowing it to just be, oh, you see it, then we just do it. And we don't worry about it. Yeah, like it by not having to keep track and keep score, it takes the pressure off of trying to have it perfectly fair. And I
Yeah.
think that's a thing in that. Yeah.
There's always a point in a parent relationship with your children, I think, where we have to say to our kids, life's not fair. I remember having to actually say that to my children at some point because it's not fair. I'm like, well, actually, life's not fair sometimes. And while that feels really harsh, it is the reality. It is not fair that you have privilege that others don't. It's not fair that you are allowed to do something when we know other children can't. It's not fair that Santa Claus bought you something bigger and the child down the road got nothing. So life isn't necessarily fair, but we have to be able to navigate that. And I think that's one of the reasons siblings are so important.
It's really interesting. It's interesting that you say that because there's a truth to that, that life isn't fair. And as I was reflecting as you were saying it, Karen, I was like, I've it's been really important for me. Like if, let's say, I ask a child to do the dishes, and the next day I ask that same child to do the dishes. Because and what I used to do is if they came to me, oh, but you asked me yesterday, I might have changed who I asked to do the dishes. What I've learned is you're right. Isn't that interesting? I asked you yesterday and today. Yep. Like sometimes that happens. I might ask you to do something twice. And by doing that, so I've never actually said the words life's not fair, but by doing that, like, oh, like I could validate, they're right. They noticed it and it didn't mean that I had to change it. And so I
Mm.
think they internalized that, oh, okay, it's not always going to be exactly equal. Does that make sense? It's not going to be equal. And yet, mom's just noticing who can help, where, like what hands are available. And sometimes it is like that. Like sometimes it's we help a sibling with their chores when they've got a friend over and, to give them a little bit of a break. And then the same thing, it'll come back around to you, not necessarily right away. We don't know when, but you've got the capacity. They have less capacity. Maybe they have a test. So, okay, let's help them out. They're sick. Let's help them out. And it's like, it creates this, oh, it doesn't need to be exact and equal. So, so
Imagine when your kids leave home and they get a job and the boss says, "Can you file this, please? Here's a lot of filing. Can you go file this?" And then the next day the boss says, "Can you file this?" And the kid goes, or your young adult goes, "But I did it yesterday." Right? You've got to learn to take commands as a child because at some point, if you're working for somebody else, you're going to have to do what they've asked you to do, right? So uh, it might not be fair that there's someone else who could have done it today, but maybe you're better at it than somebody else. And so uh, it's just the way life works.
right. Or maybe it's a skill that you're developing and they already have that skill. So there's lots of different reasons why you
Yeah.
might. And I think that's what you're attuning to, and what you're sharing is that, this idea of, oh, okay, while it's not exactly equal, it's still something that we want to do because it's supportive for the family system. And So I think it's what a neat idea. I love this idea of the month in front. So you get to pick, and I love that the parents are woven into it. Um,
Mhm. Can
it's
I can I
yeah,
say something else that I think really helps is that teaching them how to do a task properly is important. So, for instance, I know one of the things we want our kids to do is clean their rooms, but we often don't teach them how. And so there's the we do it, yeah, the we do it together. Um, uh, sorry, I do it and show you how. We do it together, and then you do it, and I support and give feedback. But one of the things I used to do is we put some loud music on, and I'd help the children clean their room. And when the room was clean to my satisfaction and how I thought it should be, I would take photos, and I would blue tack those photos on the inside of their wardrobe door so that the next time I asked them to clean their bedroom, they knew what it looked like. So, so I think this is also, it stops the comparison that my room took longer than your room because, well, it's your room. You've got more toys. But this is what a tidy room looks like. This is what a bed looks like when it's made. Does your bed look like this? I take photos at the bottom of the closet floor. Is it clear? Take photos under the bed. And they were all on the wall there so they could see them, and that's what a tidy bedroom looks like. See, particularly if you've got boys, we tell them to go sweep, but what boys do often, this is a generalization, but what boys do is they sweep the dirt from one side to the other. They don't actually get rid of the dirt, and we just have to teach them how and show them the exemplar of what that looks like. And I think the month in the front, when every child has a turn, it depersonalizes the comparisons. So you don't have to compare anymore because it's just your turn.
it's just your turn. And it also gives you that. I love what you shared, Karen, because by taking a picture, a parent that I support and I were having a conversation. I'm like, oh, this is an important topic about the multiple corrections. Because that's a thing. Like, and by taking a picture, saying, here's the standard. Now you can compare on your own to the standard instead of you having to tell them 3 times, oh, go back and pick this up too. Oh, go back and clean your desk up. Oh, go back and sweep that pile of dirt that's in the corner of your room up. Yeah, there's a photo that is there to remind them of what the standard is so that you're not having to do the multiple corrections. Um, Funny story, just because this is so when I was teaching my oldest how to do dishes, and it was graduating to pots and pans and casserole dishes and whatnot. I remember after he'd finished, I was like, I called him back and I said, hey, because he had cleaned one, but he'd gotten the inside really clean. But you know how food gets crusted on the outside, right? And so I was like, oh, yeah, like this totally happens. Like this is part of learning how to clean pots and pans and casserole dishes. Here, let me show you. And he was like, Mom, isn't it what's on the inside that counts, not what's on the outside?
Love it.
Like,
Total.
it's so funny. But because like, and I think even making it doesn't have to be heavy when you're teaching them skills and doing things like you can joke with each other and have fun and I love that you talk about really practical ways to like hack instead of having to go back and tell them over and over again that you can show them what the standard is. And I think with that, the message, Karen, that it's okay for you to have a standard of what clean looks like and for them to be learning what that standard is. And I think that's important. Like even like, okay, that didn't mean that I was like, oh, you're right. And then we didn't have to learn how to clean the outside of the pot. No, it meant, okay, that was funny. And here's how you always make sure you check the outsides of the pots too. So,
I think I
so
think we should absolutely have more fun in parenting. I think parenting's hard enough. How do you have fun? If I was to think about a word that would probably describe my parenting style, it's probably the word lazy. It's not a word I would use for myself ever, but what I mean by that is I put systems in place to make sure I don't have to keep doing the mundane and the boring of telling them off and showing them again. And it's like, oh, if I have to, I will. But the systems I've put in place allow me to chill a lot more as a parent.
Oh, I think that is a one-liner that parents can take. Like the purpose of a system is to allow you to chill more as a parent. Like you don't have to be constantly checking or sorting things out. The system handles those discussions for you. So
Yeah.
that's
And
beautiful.
our
Yeah.
kids are human, we're human. It's never going to be perfect, but Edward Deming at the end of the Second World War said every problem is a 93% system error, 7% human error.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's where I got that from. It's like, okay, system error, what system can we put in place that's going to support this to move forward?
Yeah. Yeah. And I noticed that learning systems in my home has been a process. And as I have systems, everybody relaxes. And absolutely what you said, like it creates space because the system is, there are less debates and discussions about who's doing what. The system's handling it. And then it creates space for fun, for joy, for delight, for play, for, ease. And it's not none of them are perfect systems. And even that's part of the system is learning to be flexible with the system. So, oh, what a powerful discussion. I think parents are going to be excited to try the month in the front. It'll be interesting to see what happens and how this goes for parents. And know that it's an experiment in your home too. So bring that mad scientist kind of energy to it for those parents joining. Like, see how this works for you. See what might need to be tweaked along the way and what you need in your home to make it work. And Karen, is there, well, two things. I know you have an incredible free gift. So would you share about your free gift? And then I'd love to hear if there's one final thought that you want to share with parents about siblings. I'd love to hear that as well.
Absolutely. So my free gift is a poster that has age appropriate chores. So what should you be expecting your child to do at what age? So I'll happy to give you that. And if you step up to the VIP, which means you can, of course, watch all these videos and keep them, and get all the other extra free gifts. I've forgotten what I said I was going to give.
You said a
Oh,
couple.
I know some chapters of my book, Roots and Wings. I'll just grab it. So it's about parenting for stability and independence. So I'm quite happy to, there'll be a link. You can download some of my favorite chapters from this book.
What an incredible gift. So for everybody watching, go ahead and click that link and you can download the age appropriate chores. And for those of you that have been thinking about the VIP pass, now is your time because getting to read a couple chapters of Karen's book, what an incredible gift. And you talked about Month in the Front as well as other ideas to support kids with, I love the words together, stability and independence. What important words. So thank you so much, Karen, for your generosity and for sharing those gifts with those parents joining us today. And do you have a final thought on siblings, like that you want to share with those parents joining us?
Yes. When it gets too hard, when your kids are fighting, when they are doing the things that you just don't want them to do, I would just go, that's it. I'm going to my room. I would take myself out of the equation because quite often they were acting up because I was there. And so I would actually go and find, a space for me and leave them to it. They It's very unlikely that they'll actually kill each other, but they'll just sort it out. But often they're playing the parent, and so I would just remove myself, and pretty quick they would just get on with it and sort it out. So that is one of my other tips.
It sounds like in your family, what was happening was they were hoping that you would make a judgment on who was right, who was wrong, who was good, who was bad, who got this, who didn't get this. And
Yeah.
so when you moved yourself, then then that responsibility was left with them to make the decisions about how to make this. Again, it's that whole fair equal thing, right? Coming back in. So I appreciate you sharing that. And I know for some parents, like depending on, listen to everything, listen to where your family is, where your home is. You're the expert in your home. So check in with yourself. I've worked with parents where there have been times where they were ready for that. And there have been times where their kids were fighting so much where they were like, no, I'm worried that something will happen. And there was more physical aggression. And so they weren't ready for that. And I think it's
Yeah.
honor yourself in the process. Know where you are for each and every parent. You're the expert in your home. You know your kids. And Karen, I really appreciate you being here and sharing your energy, your heart, your enthusiasm. Um, I love the let's try this and see how it goes. Inventor energy that you bring to conversations and the way you share your wisdom and your warmth. So thank you so much for being here.
No.
Um,
And
really,
thank you for doing what you do and showing up the way you do, because you're just an incredible light in the world.
oh, thank you, Karen. No, thank you so much. Real quick, where can parents find you? And the link will be on this page as well. But where can they find you?
Oh, spectrumeducation.com.
Hmm, thank
Easy.
you. Perfect. And for those parents joining us, thank you for sharing your time with us. We appreciate you. We know you're busy and have a lot going on, and we're so grateful for you being here. Bye for now.